All that said, ladies and gentlemen, it is 11 o'clock and it is time for us to go ahead and get started. I thank you all for joining us here today. My name is Randy Lober, Growth Marketing Manager here at Action Benefits, and happy to welcome Steve Ogden from AgencyBloc here. Before we get started, I want to take care of a few housekeeping things for you. First of all, down along the bottom of your screen, you'll see a few ways you can get in touch with Steve and I throughout today's presentation. There is a chat button. That's a great way to stay social. Say hi, how are you? I love the fall colors, whatever you want to say there. But if you have questions today, and I'm sure you will as you want to get to know more about AgencyBloc, there is also a Q&A feature. And if you click on that, you'll get a new window where you can type your question in, and Steve and I will get to that at our earliest convenience throughout today's session. All that said, the genesis of today's session is pretty interesting, I think. For many of you who are longtime Action Benefits partners, I think you know that this is kind of a new foray for us in terms of providing a discount program with a vendor partner like AgencyBloc. And part of my job as a growth marketing manager here at Action is to find a variety of ways we can help you, our loyal and trusted partners, grow your business. And I was struggling one day for some new ideas, and then I walked around the office and the idea literally hit me in the face. I saw up on some of my teammates' computers that they had AgencyBloc open. We use it to administer the interactions we have with you when we're servicing you and your books of business. We also use it on our small retail operation, so when agents leave the business and choose to sell the business off to us to maintain and shepherd on the future, they use it as well. And so I got to thinking, there must be a way we can take advantage of this. If it's good enough for us, it must be good enough for you. And that led me to reach out to Steve and his partners at AgencyBloc. So Steve, I want to hand it over to you to give yourself a better introduction than what I just did and tell us all about AgencyBloc and what we can expect from the program.
Okay, thank you, Randy. Thank you, everybody. For those of you who don't know, AgencyBloc actually had a sister company called Spinutech. Randy, you might even find this interesting if you don't know about it. And Spinutech had a large MGA in the Midwest that was looking for commissions for health and life. They had never really had a commissions tool that they liked, and Spinutech had developers and designed their website for them and everything. So they built a commissions tool for them, and then that was in 2005, so it's been a while ago. And in 2008, people came to realize, one, there were not a lot of good commissions tools, but other agencies that found out about it were asking about it. And the second thing is there were not a lot of agency management systems in the health and life space. So because of those things, we launched AgencyBloc in 2008. I have been with them for 8 years. I manage the sales team at AgencyBloc. And I want to thank Randy and Action Benefits for allowing us to come and show you the product. So as you can see, I've got a login screen here, and I'm just going to go in. My person is George. George, of course, is a well-known person. We only hire dead presidents at this agency because it's very prestigious. And what I've got here when I log in is kind of important because we all know with the new CMS rules and everything that we have to deal with, especially in the Medicare side, but any side really, that holding those conversations and recordings and text in a record is very, very good if you ever need to go back there and look that record. So I've got all my activities here for today, and it varies based on your username and password. These are today, but I can open it up for any time I want. And oh, by the way, Thomas is going to be out today, so I just want to see what Thomas has got on his plate. So if I need to fill in for Thomas, I can do that. So I can look at me or me and my team. And then if you see on like done here, appointment day, it's got a number 4 here. Well, the reason is if I click in on this subject line, every transaction I've had in this particular transaction is going to be date and time stamped. So when I get done with this, if I sell Don in a policy, I can always complete this because I don't need to see it on my dashboard anymore. And then I can make some notes here, so I'll know what I'm doing later on. And then once I do that, when I update this, it's leaving my dashboard. I don't need to see it anymore, but I'm going to archive it in Don's record for E&O purposes. So every conversation, recording, text message is captured in the agency management system under the record. So you'll always know when to get that information back. Now, for those of you who like a calendar view, I certainly have a calendar view here. I use the activities view or the line item view because I just like it better, but you can use your calendar if you want. And then you'll notice here over on the side, I've got this sales information and servicing information. It's very, very important that you have one silo where you can take that prospect from cradle to grave. Now, we started on the servicing side, so that's what I'm going to talk about today with you, because listen, if you are alone or you have other agents, the most important thing for you today is that if you buy AgencyBloc, right, then it is easy for you to adapt to it, because we all know, I'm just shocked it's the middle of June already this year. I mean, I don't know where it goes, but it's going. And so it's not going to be too long before, guess what? That open enrollment period is going to start. And you want to make sure you have a solution where you can get in there, set up automation, do the things you need to do so you won't have to manually do that stuff. Because when that time of year comes, you want to be selling. So I'm just going to really quick go in here to individuals for you today. Now, I've got everybody that breathes in my individuals. I can have employee carrier employees or prospects, clients, all those people. But when I need to call John, I just start doing a string search for John, and up he comes. John Sr. is a client of mine. So I'm just going to open up John. And you'll notice right away, there's no icons to remember or anything like that. It's just a set of tabs, and it's always, no matter what area you're in here, groups, agents, it's always going to start with the detail level, and you're just going to drill right for anything you need. Very, very easy to use. Now, we only do health and life. If you're a teacher in Detroit, you're not going to use AMS Plus. That's not going to happen. You pretty much need to be selling health and life. And so a lot of these fields are already in here for you. So I'm tracking the Medicare information for John. I've got all his detail here, driver's license. I've got all his contact information. By the way, if I have his cell phone, because I want to make a phone call from here or send a text message, if I set the click to dial, then I can dial from any link in the system. I've got lead information here because I may want to track where my leads are coming from to make sure I'm getting the most bang for my buck. And then I can always build custom fields if I need to, and I can report on those, as many as I want. But keep in mind, you're probably not going to have to build custom fields because we have the fields that you'll probably need to get this done. So that's the detail. What's next? Well, I want to know every policy I've ever sold, John. So they're here. Doesn't have to be active policies, although you'll know if they're active or not. And there's a little enforced policies over here in the summary section that you can look at. But in recent time here, I've replaced this MedSup policy with a Medicare Advantage plan. So I just want to make sure I've got that history here. And then I've got activities. Remember, anything that I've completed with John is going to be on here. He's been a client for a while, so I got a lot of contact information for John. Any kind of attachments. I don't want you to use paper files if you can avoid it, right? Let's take the attachments and put them in one silo. remember one thing, this is very, very important. If you're looking at other vendors, make sure that when the time comes that you need to get your data out of there, you can do so without any problems. So attachments, recordings, all that stuff are going to be very, very important to you, and you need to be able to get those out of there. This is always your data, and you can take it whenever your heart desires, right? Then I've got relationships here because guess what? Mary is John's wife. She's a Medicare client of mine. So if I'm talking to John and Mary grabs the phone and says, hey, Steve, what's my Part A date? I can tell her it's in July. And then if John gets mad because she grabbed the phone and grabs the phone back, I can get right back to John right here without any problem. So very, very easy to use. And then workflows and emails we'll talk about as we go here. Messages is a place where I store the call recordings and the SMS. And so, again, one silo where I know where to get to everything. Now, for those of you who do employee benefits, just real quick, I'm going to show you the difference because, again, I'm going to keep harping on it, but AgencyBloc is very easy to use. And so if I go to Olympia Cable, if they call, here's the difference. Remember, I got all the detail, but now it's the group detail. So I've got things like industry codes and tax numbers and things like that, right? But now, guess what? If I want to, I can track all the individuals within Olympia Cable. That's very important if you're tracking that stuff and doing servicing for groups. And then I've got the group policies, which is the same here. But guess what? If you're selling ancillary items to that group, those are their policies. So if Thad calls me and asks me about his voluntary cancer policy, that's pretty easy. I just go back to individuals here, go right to Thad, and guess what? That is an individual hooked onto the group in my database. So he's got the same policy as everybody. And I can say, hey, Thad, your voluntary cancer policy renews in May. And then if Thad pulls a fast one on me and says, hey, guess what? Sharon's standing right beside me and we want to know what she's enrolled in the group side. Well, guess what? I can go right to this enrollments tab and I can say, well, Thad, Sharon's enrolled in the health and the dental and the vision. Again, one silo is going to save you a lot of time, and you do not, if you can avoid it, want to put people on hold while you're finding data. So very, very easy to use. And then, of course, these are activities for the group and notes and attachments. We do policies, though, as compared to generics like Salesforce or ACT or whatever, because we don't just track people. We track policies, we track carriers, we track your agents if you have agents underneath you. So very, very important that you have that kind of data. While we're here on the servicing side, let's just talk a little bit about the automation on the servicing side, because that's always been a big deal for us. The first thing I want to show you is what we call lead forms. You can use as many of these as you want. You can put them on any page that you want. You can use them for social media. They'll let you put fields on there, anything you want. But here's the difference. Once you pick out the fields, and don't worry about this code down here, because when you pick out the fields, we'll build the HTML for you, and you'll just have to copy and paste that onto a web page, any blank web page. The difference is once they fill this out and hit submit, then guess what? It is going to actually, for you, put that information into AMS Plus, because I've set up a workflow that says when that lead form is submitted and that individual is created through that lead form, I want to send an email immediately, because here's what we know. If I can get to any web page within 5 minutes, my chances of winning that prospect are go up 9 times. So very, very important that you send out an email immediately and say, hey, we're the best insurance agency in the world. Nobody's better. Nobody can answer your questions better. And we'll have somebody get a hold of you shortly. Now, let's just say Randy's on the road, right? And all of a sudden he's got his email alerts on and he gets an email from AgencyBloc. And it says, Randy, follow up. You got a new lead coming in, because that's the second action in my workflow, is to send somebody a message. You remember your dashboard up here, right? And it doesn't matter if you have internet service anywhere, you can get into AMS Plus from your phone, your tablet, whatever you want. So you'll get an email and there'll be a link to that activity, and you'll be able to go in there on the, I always pull over. Don't start talking to people while you're driving, but pull over and look at that, and you can start that process right away. Speed to contact. You can use those lead forms anywhere. Automated workflow. Why do I want to do automated workflow? Well, because I do not want to track when people turn 65. I don't want to track when they turn 26 for ACA. I don't want to track any of that stuff. I'm going to have AMS Plus do my work for me. So anytime somebody turns 65, prospect or client, I don't care. I want to immediately, 90 days or 30 days or whatever it is ahead of time, send them an email and say, hey, your insurance is changing. We need to chat. And mine says, I'll give you a call if I don't hear from you, and try you next week. So I want to make sure that 5 days later, somebody in my group is getting an action that says, hey, this person just turned 65. We need to give them a call. So I can set up automated workflows for as simple things like extra contacts with people, with happy birthday workflows. I can do it to welcome people in my account. I can do all those workflows, and I'll show you some on the sales side that I think are going to be even more powerful for you when you start that open enrollment process. And of course, email marketing is part of the system. Now, when it comes to workflows or email marketing, just so you'll know, we do this thing called tracking bounce and spam. So if they want to opt out, we'll do that for you, and then you can opt them in later if you want, but we'll track that for you. Also, we track what we call opens and clicks. So what is that email tab for? Well, if I'm sending John birthday emails every year, I want to make sure he's opening those birthday emails. And if I have a promotional link on there, that he's clicking on that link. So again, one silo, right? Always have that workflow, and then you track that workflow. You have those email, mass emails. You track those mass emails. You want to make sure you're getting the bang for your buck. So very, very important stuff. And then reports are very easy. I've got a cross-selling report where I can say, hey, show me everybody in my database that has dental insurance but not vision, because guess what? I've got this new latest greatest vision insurance, and I want to make it available to everybody. And if it's a short list, I can call them, but all it's going to do is open up your Excel spreadsheet and dump that data out so you can start giving those people a call and tell them about your latest greatest vision policy. So very good reporting on AMS Plus. But if you don't like any of my reports and you have scale, we have two packages, growth and scale. And if you have scale, we add custom reporting to you, so you can add your own columns, your own fields. You can bring that data out any way you want. So I think what we'll do is, if there's no questions or anything, maybe head for the lead side real quick. So remember my dashboard here. Now, the dashboard is configurable, remember, by username. It's the same way with the sales dashboard. So those of you just doing groups, don't panic here, because you can create your own dashboard, but those of you who are doing individuals on my dashboard, guess what I've got? I've got all my unsigned scope of appointments, right? I've got those right on the top. So John gives me a call and says, Steve, I got a bone to pick with you. You haven't set up a Medicare appointment for me. I can say, John, you haven't signed your scope of appointment. We need some time between that scope and the appointment. You got to do that. And John says to me, no problem, Steve. I'm right by my computer. Email it to me. All right. I just click that button and off I go. Or John says, you know what? I'm in my car. Text it to me. Good. I'll text it to you. Or John's close to where you are and you meet him for lunch, you know, you can just open that thing up for the signature right there if you want. Just have him uncheck what you don't want to talk about and you're good to go. So I've got my unscopable appointments. These are configured by you. So if you just have groups, you wouldn't have these life leads or Medicare leads or ACA leads. These are your records. And then in mine, I've just got some analytics that I like to look at for lead source comparisons. And then I've got all my recent contacts in here. But if I go back to one of these record types and I click on it here, then I'm going to be able, let's just say it's a new prospect and they call you. I can go right into here and start talking to them about their information and load it all up here if I want to do that. Or let's just say you buy leads from a vendor. Now, we're very fortunate that a lot of lead vendors love to work with us. So we have integrations with, you know, Target Leads or Lead Concepts, many, many vendors, because we have open API and it allows them to get in there. If you buy them from them, they'll just throw the leads in there for you. But if you get them from somebody you really like that doesn't have an integration, we can always just use a spreadsheet and download that CSV file. No problem, right? But once I'm in here, if I call Andrew, then I can, at that point in my life, do about anything I want. Now, I want to just give you a little information about growth and scale that I talked about earlier, because I think that's important. So growth package are for those people who either don't need the voice over IP or video conferencing or things like that. We have a package. Let's say you got Ring Central, you're perfectly happy with it. That's fine. They actually have an integration with us through Zapier, so we can still move the data. But our agencies told us, look, we need VoIP and texting in this platform, right? And guess what? We are software developers. We do not sell insurance. And so every time we make a revision, we make it because Randy calls and says, hey, I'm not happy. We got to have VoIP, right? So there's a growth package, which is without the VoIP, and there's a scale package that has the VoIP. Now, we talked about custom reporting, so the scale has custom reporting. It's got video conferencing. You can text from both the growth and the scale package, either one. But to give you an idea, if you have scale, then you can start a video conference if you want it for Andrew, or generate that SOA, or the ACA consent if he's under 65, or if I have CSG or FEX, if I'm doing final expense, then I could start a quote from here. So those are the different things. Now you can see the tabs here. I still have record of all the activities, the history, the policies, all that, but this is on the sales side. Now, here's the beauty of one silo. I start on the sales side, I sell a policy. When I move that to the servicing side, all the policy information, all the texting, everything goes with it. But during open enrollment, I want to maybe move all my clients back to the servicing or the sales side so I can start over. So I want to start with doing an SOA or whatever I can. When you have one silo, it is easy to move the data back and forth and the records keep the data. So very, very important. Now, Randy's probably gonna panic here. I'm going to show you a little bit into the works. I don't normally do this, but I want to show you how powerful the engine is. It's very powerful. And so now remember, I'm going to show you a workflow, but I set it up in about 15 minutes, right? So you got plenty of time to get this stuff done. I'll show you what I did. So I created a tag, right, called AEP review needed. All I did was I went into here, I typed in tags. And when I say I created a tag, all I did was name that tag and add it. Click to add it, right? So very easy to do. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to start a workflow for AEP review needed, because I want all my people doing the same thing during AEP, just make it easier for everybody, right? And so I actually wanted to create some templates for my people so they wouldn't have to think about emailing or texting. So I just went in here and I made some marketing templates, right? So right away, when I tag these people, I want to do something, and it's send them an email. So in this case, I just built this email. Now, it could have been a text. I just decided on email, right? And here's what I said, and I made this available to all my people. I said, hey, John, annual enrollment is here. Please sign the SOA in the incoming separate email that I'm sending, and choose from the calendar below to review my meeting space. So I'm sending the SOA. I got a scheduler set up that's 48 hours out, so they can't get to it for 48 hours. Boom, I have just created my first email that I'm sending to everybody tagged AEP review needed, without me doing anything except setting up the stuff at the start, right? So very, very important. We talked a little bit about doing the simple workflows, right? So I created a birthday template, right, for my people, just so they'd have something to send out right away when somebody turns a certain age or has a recurring birthday every year. All that stuff. And when I do that, keep in mind, I can do it for emails, but I can also do it for text messages, whatever I want to do here. So tag them, set up the templates. Now I want to build my workflow. So real quick here, I'm going to go into settings, right? And I'm going to go to sales, and I'm going to type in automated workflow, right? Boom. There's the workflow I set up for review needed. First email I showed you. In 2 weeks, guess what? I'm sending another email to remind people. But if I have the scale package 5 weeks later, I'm putting all those people that are tagged review needed into a call queue. And so that way, I can just start dialing for those people when I'm ready. And then guess what? I don't want to forget to remove those tags after open enrollment. So I'm going to have the system after 80 days remove all those tags for me. That way I don't have to worry about anything slipping through the cracks. So very, very important. If I go back here, you can see setting up workflows is not a big deal, but also what I wanted to do is, remember, if I check this click to call, remember those links come open to click to dial, right? And I have said I want everything recorded that comes in and out of the system. So what does that mean? Well, Randy likes to use his cell phone. He's out of the office quite a bit. If it goes through our platform, he can forward that to his cell, but it's still, we're going to record that message and put it into that record. So you don't have to worry about it not getting recorded because you're on your cell phone, right? Here's the other thing I'm going to do. Guess what? I am going to give everybody access to this little jewel. I don't know if Randy's got his sound on. Can you hear that, Randy?
1-800-Medicare
Yes, we can hear that.
or your local state health insurance program for help with plan choices.
So when I'm in that call queue and I'm dialing, as soon as I get that beep for somebody's voicemail, you know what? I can drop a voicemail and say, hey, this is George, and I'm sorry I missed your call. I'll call you in a couple of days, but if you get a hold of me first, here's my phone number, right? Boom, drop it. Or I get Randy and I say, Randy, before we start talking about your Medicare, let me just play this disclosure for you. I just drop it. I'm done with it. I can start talking to Randy about Medicare. I can make as many recordings as I want, and I can give access to everybody or just myself, whatever makes sense. I can drop MP3 files in here like I did my CMS disclosure, but guess what? If I want to do it in my own voice, I just call that number and put in that code, and I can record as many voicemails as I want for myself. Again, not normally go into the tool that deep, but just wanted to show you some of the power of the tool. It's very, very important, and I can build those workflows in a very short period of time. But guess what? If there's anything you need to learn about this system and you don't have time to call us, our customer support is free, and we answer the phone. For goodness sakes, we're in Iowa. We got nothing to do except watch corn grow, right? So we answer the phone, we'll be there. And also the onboarding training is available to you once you activate it, no charge, right? But there are videos inside this system for you self-learners for anything you would ever do, including building workflows, doing commissions, doing all that stuff. So for you self-learners, I'm a visual person. I'm not reading content. I just don't do it very well. But if I can start and stop a video, I can learn a lot in 5 or 10 minutes. So very short videos to the point to help you to learn all this stuff. And because of that learning, it just helps you to adapt before it's time to really do the hard work. So a lot of stuff on that sales and servicing side, but we have one more platform that's separate called Commissions Plus that I want to just talk to you about a little bit. And the reason I want to talk to you about it is because this is where we started. And it's very, very, so the first time I did a demo, I came from another industry and I'm talking to this young man and he says to me, I say, how do you track your commissions? And there was dead silence on the phone and I didn't quite understand it. And all of a sudden this kind of angry voice came and said, well, Steve, do you think the carriers are corrupt and don't pay me my commissions? And I said, no, I think they're big and they may miss things, right? So I learned that people in the insurance industry in the health and life space sometimes don't have time to look back to see if they're getting paid. And I will tell you, after doing this for 8 years, you are missing some money that would pay for an agency management system probably and more. So if you want a good return on investment, I want to show you something real quick. Now, commissions is not hard. 2 things that we need to know. 1, you've got to tell us who to pay and how much to pay. Now, if you're the only agent in your agency, that's easy. The house gets 100% of this stuff. That's all I need to know. And then the other side of that is, how do I get the darn stuff in AMS Plus, Commissions Plus, to do the reconciliation? So let's go over that one time. Now, I'm going to show you this manually because I want to make sure that you know if it works for you. But you'll see all the rules I have built. I've worked with some very complex agencies, FMOs, large agencies that have some very complex splits. So we will build business rules so they don't have to apply the math every time you turn around. But again, I'm going to show you this manually. So if I go to my commissions tab, if you have commissions, by the way, let's look at policies real quick here. If you have commissions, right, you're going to have a commissions tab right here. And I'm going to set up a new policy coming in. Once you set it up, it's up, right? But I'm going to set it up new coming in. And I'm going to click on that Payees tab. Pretend like this new policy. I'm just going to come over here, this button, create new. And I'm going to tell it who to pay and how much to pay. Now, where do I get the who to pay? Well, guess what? All my providers are in this tab. Does it have to be people? No, sometimes I pay the house. Sometimes I might pay a TBA or somebody. So it doesn't have to be necessarily people. It can be entities, right? So I've got all my agents here, right? And so when I start to type, who am I going to pay? Julie sells this policy. I'm going to pay Julie, right? It's going to come out of that agents tab. So there's Julie. That's the who I'm going to pay. And then the how much do I want to pay her is here. So remember, I've got all these rules. I'm going to show you manually. So let's just say that you are, if you're larger, like Randy's group is, you may get commissions and overrides. You may pay Julie part of the commissions, but you may take the overrides for the house, right? That's not a problem. I can do that. All I want, I can pay off any revenue type that's on that commission statement. I'm going to pay Julie commission. I get paid Julie percent of premium if it's a life policy, or percent of commission, a flat amount if it's a referral. If you got a call center and you pay people $50 for everything you close, I can do that. Or if you're doing groups, I can do a per life if the carrier is paying me per life. There's a percent of remainder in there, and the reason is our agency want accuracy in reporting. I can't give myself and Randy a penny. I either got to give it to Randy or give it to me. So think of that percent of remainder is just everything left off is going somewhere. So I'm just going to pay Julie commission, and right now I'm going to pay her 40%. Now, if I hit save here, 60% is going to drop net to the house. But for those of you who have agents or maybe manage agents that have managers, I can split this policy as many times as I want. So if Randy says, hey, I can make Julie a perfect salesperson for only 2% of everything she sells, that's fine. I just add Randy as a payee in the payee schedule. And then the difference is 58% is now going to fall to the house because I've got to be at 100% of what the carrier pays me to have accuracy. Or I can say, Julie, you get 40% months 1 through 12, but guess what? I do all the work on the renewals. You're only getting 20% months 13 to forever. And AgencyBloc will actually track that effective date and bill from date. And if you build the rules up front, it'll know when to make that split for you. So you won't even have to worry about that. All right. So that's the who and the how much. Now, how do I get the darn stuff in there? I'd like to caveat this a bit by telling you, people who get paper and PDFs from small carriers, I want you to go back to them and ask them for data. I will just tell you this, you may not get it, and we have a workaround, but if you can get the data, it's going to make your life a lot easier. And there is not a carrier in the United States doing this with a pencil and a piece of paper, right? They've all got data somewhere. And we build import maps based on the carrier, and we have over 6,500 of them. So we know that many of the carriers, especially the larger one, have data, and you can get data from them. Again, if you can't, we have a workaround that's still more efficient. But if I can get the data, I'm just going to go up here to import carrier data. And then I can tell if it's new, existing. I'm going by the carrier name here. You're going to get us copies of each commission statement from your carriers because we want to customize this for you, right? And we're going to show you how the mapping works, and you're going to map those carriers one time. That's it. And then we're going to build software for you in your AMS Plus that matches those carriers. So in my case, I'm just going to go with United Healthcare, and then these will be your carriers, but I'm just going to match it up with the carrier real quick. And then I'm going to go out and get that data file that I've gotten. It's saved in my UHC commissions folder, and I'm going to double click on it. It's going to default to today's date, but I can change that if I need to. And I'm going to tell AMS Plus or Commissions Plus when I want to pay my people. We're going to pay them on the 14th. And then all I'm going to do is hit this little green button down here that says import statement. It is going to walk through that commission statement and tell you there are 22 policies on that statement. 21 are linked to AgencyBloc. One is not linked. I'll tell you why. We paid 42 people, and guess what? This is what you got in your checking account. All right. Good information, but most accounting people want to see it. So you just go to this view and edit entries, and boom, we will walk you through that commission statement line by line. And guess what? We'll tell you who you paid on each policy. Now, if there's a problem with the reconciliation, that's okay. You're not going to have to go anywhere. You're just going to hover over this. It's going to say, guess what? I couldn't find that policy in AgencyBloc. Now, remember that with us, we reconcile policies by the policy number normally because that's the unique identifier, right? All carriers use different member numbers and things. Those can duplicate. Policy numbers do not, right? Or if the carrier has what we call a commissions number, that's the unique identifier and you can use it. However your carrier works, right? But once I hit that edit, guess what? Here's a new policy button. Boom. We've already know from the commission statement what carrier it is and what policy number it is. We'll just add that, tell it who to pay. Boom, we're done. We'll never have to fix that again. It'll be fixed. Once I'm done with that, then all I'm going to do probably is go here to the agent statements. If I have agents, if it's me, I don't necessarily have to do it, but I can do it PDF or CSV file, either one. And I'm just going to pick that date and I'm going to run that report so I can cut those and mail them to my agents. Now, AgencyBloc is not an accounting system, so you're going to have to export the data out of commissions and import it into your Peachtree or QuickBooks or whatever you use. But it is going to make your life much more simple if you can get that data. And then I'm going to run that PDF and get those agent statements. And then I'm going to take those statements and cut them and send them out to the agents. So I lost my PDF. There it is. Now, you can brand these if you want. Kids love it. I don't know if kids really love insurance. I just put it on there. But that way you can sort them by carrier. You can sort them by agent. You can brand them for yourself and just cut them and send them out. So you've got all that done. And then here's why I think you can pay for your system with this. I go up to reports here. Guess what? I got commission reports, standard reports. I got this report called commission not received, right? I can select a statement date or a date range, makes no difference which. I'm just going to select a statement date here real quick because I run mine every month. We can do all the carriers. I'm just going to do United Healthcare. And then I'm going to download that CSV file and boom, it is going to open up my spreadsheet and it is going to show me every policy that was supposed to be on that commission statement that was not there. Then I can call the carrier and say, hey, how come I didn't get paid for Joe? Well, here's where that really comes into effect in the Medicare business is, you know what? Joe got called by another Joe Namath. And guess what? He stopped paying premiums with you. And we know if you can get a hold of that guy right away, your percent of retaining that business is very, very good. But if you don't know it and 6 months later, when you call him, he tells you that is going to be too late. So, and we know, I've been doing this for a long time. We know that carriers make mistakes. And so we believe there's a lot of production you can grab. In fact, some agencies tell us 20% revenue based on missed commissions. That's a bunch, right? So that is commissions, pretty easy stuff. Again, I just don't want to try to make it hard. There's nothing hard about it, but I'm going to give Randy a chance. We'll see if there's any questions or anything else anybody wants to see.
Steve, thank you first of all for showing us everything here. There's a lot here for agents to love and to like and get to know. One question that did come in is, can we talk a little bit about document retention? I imagine that AgencyBloc holds everything on to the current year plus 10 years. Is that correct?
So if you have AgencyBloc, you're going to retain everything in AgencyBloc until you get rid of it. Now, I have been in the document management system. Randy and I talked about this previous. When I found out that AgencyBloc didn't charge per gigabyte, I was shocked. This is unlimited space. I mean, it all comes with the monthly fee. And I'm telling you what, we have a lot of large agencies that do a lot of commissions and put a lot of documents in there. So please, people don't understand sometimes that documents are not very smart. If you light a match and you've got a document here and you touch that it's not going to jump out of your hand. So those file cabinets and everything, if they are not backed up, that could create a problem down the road if something happens that God forbid, a fire or something like that. So our system is backed up. We're in Amazon Web Services, which is the most secure facility in the world, right? But it's backed up every minute on the minute into different regions. And so if I can get that paper and put it into a system that's backed up, I'm always going to have it.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Question coming in from Stacy Golding. She wants to know, she has an established book of business. How might she import her clients? Or is there a quick way to get things set up on the front end when she brings that book into AgencyBloc? Great
question, Stacy. So importing or helping you to import your book of business is the only thing. We have a one-time fee. If it's just spreadsheets, it's $250, so not crazy or anything. But we have import specialists that will help you. They'll get you templates that you can copy and paste your data on if you want, and then we'll help you with that import. We'll make sure everything's in the right fields. If it's not, we'll redo it. We'll get your approval, and then we'll be set to go. You certainly have the right to if you're an Excel veteran, you may want to do that import yourself. We can show you where it's available. If you're coming from another system, though, Stacy, like Salesforce or something like that, a lot of people put their recordings and attachments in there and everything. And so that's just time and money for us. But I don't think we're egregious or anything. We charge $1,250 to help you to do that from another system to AMS Plus. So those are kind of the three options. You can do it yourself. We'll give you the templates and everything to do it. Or you can let us help you with the spreadsheets and stuff. And that's a $250 one-time fee. And if you're coming from a custom, that's $1,250 one-time fee.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
The other question that came up for me, Steve, while I was watching you is I noticed that you had an opportunity to gather marketplace consent. I also know that there's the newer marketplace regulation around that review of the benefit information, or the review of the marketplace application, rather, where the consumer takes a look at that. What tools does AgencyBloc offer to help with that part of the process?
So we can do a couple of different things. Now, remember that we track opens and clicks. And so if you have anything stored in a separate storage in Google Docs or someplace public, we can't, once you send that link, we'll know whether they open those documents or not. I know Retire Flow and some other areas are really getting big in the document management area. And as long as we can link to that, because we want to know if they're opening that stuff or not. I can tell you that we watch compliance as closely as anybody, Randy. And so, for instance, on the group side, there was a change in being transparent on any fees over $1,000, and that's in our commission side currently. So you can actually, we move the data in so you can send those from the commission side. Our agents really were serious about the SOA and the ACA. We also have that ACA consent in Spanish. We're working on the SOA in Spanish. So for you, those of you who are in, Texas or Florida, you certainly can work with Spanish speaking people there. And so we're constantly looking at those regs and making sure we're doing things in the platform to make those regs available in one silo for you.
Great. Good to know as well. There is here might be a good segue for the offers we're talking about here today. But someone is asking broadly about price. What can an agent expect to pay for the various levels of access we've talked about here today?
Yes, absolutely. So commissions is a separate module for us. If you're starting with growth without the voice over IP, then it is $105 per user. But as Randy mentioned, because you are tied at the hip to agent benefit or action benefits, we will give you a 10% discount per user. Doesn't matter if you have 10, 20, we'll give you 10% per user. Now the growth is only $40 more. So, depending on what you're using for voice over IP, we might be able to save you money by going to our voice over IP system. So it's $145. And we can get into it more on our one-on-ones, but there also is volume discounts, Randy, for over 3 users. Plus the 10% discount that we're doing. Commissions is a one-time fee. And if you're doing under 5,000 policies a month, you're going to pay us a flat fee of $125. So you can imagine if you miss 1 or 2 commissions per month, that's going to pay for itself very quickly. If you're doing over 5,000 policies a month, then you're not going to mind paying me a little bit more for running this commission. So
fair enough. And to be clear, the offer we talked about, just so we can say it in real plain language, as Steve mentioned, 10% off of AgencyBlock for your first year if you're a brand new user to AgencyBlock. If you are already using AgencyBlock and you were curious, you came here today for a refresher, we also agreed to 10% off your first year of Commissions Plus if you choose to take that route to help you support your business. So lots of options for you to go forward here. Steve, anything to add on that part?
No, Randy, I think you covered that quite well, but I want to thank everybody for sure for hanging in there with me, keeping me honest on this presentation.
Thank you, Steve, for joining us here today. And thank you to all of our agent partners for joining us here today as well. In the chat, you see the same link I dropped to you in the email that you all saw probably over the last few weeks or so. That link is where you can go to request a one-on-one appointment with Steve and his team. They'll talk you through exactly what you want to see. Or if you're interested in going right to buying right there, I'm sure you could say, you attended our webinar today and you're interested in, getting your 10% discount for the services you're interested in. Steve, anything else we need to, anything else you'd like to add before we close up shop for the day, or anything else you'd like to leave with our agents?
Just one thing, I recommend that you do some vetting, right? I mean, that's important. It's important that you get a solution that works for you, but make sure that you ask that vendor about getting your data back. That's going to be very, very important to you in the long run, because it's your data and it should remain your data, right? Including recordings and things like that. That is key. And I start as early as you possibly can if you're trying to get up and running before open enrollment, because just having this system under your belt for 3 or 4 months before that process starts, setting up that automated workflows and things like that are going to be very, very important to you. So please start early, and we'll be around in September. We usually actually have a bigger month than we should in September, but if you could start a little earlier, please do, because the system's got so many efficiencies in it that the return on investment is pretty much immediate.
Yeah, and I can speak a bit to the workflows as well. I've helped some of our retail team, work on workflows, happy birthday notifications and whatnot that Steven mentioned. And he's not lying when he said he got those things done in 10, 15 minutes, some of them less than that. It comes together really quickly as soon as you know exactly what you want to do. Then it's just figuring out how to do it. And everything is pretty intuitive on the back end. One of our agents, Steve, before we sign off for the day, asked us to restate the cost, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. So if I'm a single agent, I'm interested in AgencyBloc, what am I looking at on a per month basis?
So $105 for the growth package minus the 10%, and $145 on the scale if you would like to avoid the add the voice over IP, video conferencing, custom reports, and things of that nature. So about $40 difference to get started to have the full package as compared to the one without the voice over IP.
Okay. Both of which you can easily take care of in one more Medicare Advantage sale per month, right? And with the efficiency you realize here, maybe that's possible. And Wallace clarifies that's a monthly cost, correct?
It is per user per month. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough. All that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Steve for his time today and sharing everything he knows about AgencyBloc. I want to thank you again to our agent partners for spending time with us here today and learning more about what we have to offer you. Should you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone here at Action Benefits. And of course, AgencyBloc is the experts in their tools. They'll be able to walk you through some of those things here as well. If you're interested, I will go ahead and chopping this up, so you'll be able to see a recording of this. It'll be delivered to your inbox in about 24 hours from now. So if you want to see how Steve talked about commissions again, or you want to memorize how much things cost, you want to drill that in before you go for it, you'll be able to kind of thumb through chapter by chapter, just like you're scrolling on a DVD or a Netflix at home, and find exactly what it is you're looking for from this presentation. So on behalf of Steve, on behalf of everyone here at Action Benefits, again, want to thank you all for your time and attention. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon at another Action Academy session. Thanks again, Steve, for joining us here today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Randy. By the way, Wallace, I want to remind you that's less than most cell phone bills. So
that's fair. That's a cell phone bill that does your voice recording, right? And takes care of all that kind of stuff. Instead of getting the business line. So that works out well. All right, then. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for your time. Steve, again, thank you. Look forward to talking soon.
thanks, Randy.